she is going to ensure.
Can we kill that drone video, please?
There's a lot of people, please stand by. I hope people here tonight.
Can we kill the drone video?
I think that some of the facts that have just come out are not acceptable. They're not acceptable to the government of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Whenever you're ready, Kyle.
All right.
Whether they're here.
I need that drone video killed. Thank you. All right, Mike, Scott, and Elizabeth, dissolve them. Q. Stand by open out to live view 6. Do we have a locator and all that? Live locator? We need a. Do we have a live bug, Brendan?
Now we know it does not exist. The two officers did not have it on, and David McAtee died. The barbecue man was shot and killed there in that process.
And then camera 2, you'll be 2-boxing, or actually you won't be. Never mind.
In an honest and transparent way, says it will not take months. That is the vow he is making. We saw protesters there at 6th and Jefferson blocking the street right now. It is a peaceful protest at this point. We want to hand things off now to our
Stand by the open.
Fallon Blick to begin the news at 6.
Roll you open. Stand by 2. Out to 2. News at 6 in the stack. Oh, live view 6. Stand by live view 6. Dissolve live view 6.
People gather around downtown Louisville for day 5 of protests against racial
Yep.
injustice and police brutality.
Last night, a man was shot and
Camera
killed
1,
while
can you give me a
LAPD
cross
and
shot
the
to
National
Scott?
Guard were
Camera 1,
helping
cross
to
shot to
disperse
Scott.
the crowd. Family
Stand by
identified
1.
the man
Stand by 1.
as David McAtee.
And late this afternoon, we learned there is no body cam video of
Stand
the
by 1.
shootout. And WDRB
Dissolve
David
1.
Scott explains
Stand by camera
the
3.
chief at police has been fired over this incident. David.
And take 3. Stand by A. Sound. With. Stand by A. Sound.
Breonna Taylor in March, where there was no body camera footage. After learning that body cameras were also not activated in the shooting of popular business owner David McAtee earlier
Stand by
this
A.
morning,
Sound.
Fisher dropped the axe.
Roll A. Take.
This type of institutional
Stand by to lose super.
will not be tolerated.
Do we have a Conrad fired banner anywhere? Dissolve. Should we have a Conrad fired for banner? Mike Q. Stand by B. Sound. With.
Deputy Chief Rob Schroeder, who already said
I need a.
is now the acting chief. Now, this comes after police and the
2 in
National
live
Guard
view
arrived
5.
at Dino's Food Mart at 26th and Broadway around midnight to help disperse.
We're still going to
the
Dalton
Yes,
after? Okay, so I need live view 6 on the right.
Then police and the National Guard returned fire. Schroeder says
Stand by
they
B
don't know
sound.
if David McAtee was actually hit by one of those bullets or if he was shot in a separate incident. He did, though, address
Stand by
the
B
fact that
sound.
there's no body cam video of what happened.
Roll B dissolve.
The two officers that fired
Stand
the
by
weapons
camera
violated
1.
our policy by either not wearing
Lose
nor
super.
not
Put
activating
safe
their cameras.
in the side monitor. We'll be out to
That is
camera 1
completely
next. Stand by camera
unacceptable,
1.
And there is no excuse.
And then 2, you'll be in a 2-box. 2 frame up for a 2-box.
Schroeder says
Take.
that the officers involved will be
Stand by
disciplined, but exactly
camera
as
2,
what they're going
stand by
to
ME2A.
do is yet to be decided.
All right, David, thank you.
Take.
And the firing of Chief Steve Conrad is what many of these protesters have been calling for. WDRB's Dalton Godby is live in downtown Louisville right now. Dalton?
Take. So what's after this?
Has moved in the street now, as you can see, several protesters here. There is actually an LMPD officer having conversations with protesters. It started as a bit of a verbal altercation between those protesters and this officer. The officer then asked if people would join him in prayer. Several of those protesters
Sit at the step box, put it on ME2B.
and say a short prayer with them. Now you can see there is some a little bit of dialogue happening here.
Stefan wants on-air programming, please. Stefan wants on-air programming. Live view 6 on the left, live view 5 on the
I
right.
mentioned that all the protesters were on the sidewalk.
Stand by
About
ME2B.
half of them migrated onto the street to block the street, and another half of them urged that they didn't do that. So there is half of the protesters on the street, half of them on the sidewalk.
Is he tossing to a soundbite or anything?
Don't know, Stefan, yes.
What's Stefan's soundbite?
Protesters, it has
Stefan
been
sounds like
peaceful
it's a cheer on protest.
for the
Okay.
most part, other than some verbal altercation. What we're showing you right now, he has talked to several of the people here, and there are other officers having conversation over here. Jacob, if you can look to the left here, there's some more officers that are here talking to the protesters right now. Just some peaceful dialogue. We see an officer hugging a protester there. We saw that several times today and last night as well. Everything peaceful here, and I can't urge that enough. This is a peaceful protest right now, and many of them out here have said, we are keeping this peaceful today. This will be a peaceful protest, no violence. We'll see how that pans out for the rest of the night, but guys, this crowd
Stand by.
is certainly growing in number.
Absolutely. All right, Dalton. Thank you very much.
Stand by
And tonight we
2.
do have team coverage of the
Dissolve
continued
2.
protest.
I thought
And let's get right to WDRB.
Stand by
Stefan
live
Johnson,
views
who
5.
is
Stand by to live
standing in
tween
the
with
same area where McAtee
live
was
tween.
shot overnight. Stefan?
Right, that happened just after midnight last night.
All right, stand by X.
There's been a pretty consistent presence here on West Broadway. Behind me, the crowd continues to grow. A number of people are standing along the wall here next to the Louds Mall. To give you some perspective, if you're familiar with this area, 26th and Broadway. We're right across the street from Kroger. Again, the people along the wall holding signs and chanting, holding their hands up, are next to the Louds Mall. And this has been peaceful throughout the day. Over the last 72 hours, we've had a number of peaceful protests. We've also seen some chaos. My colleague Katrina Helmer has been here throughout the day. You saw something that we really haven't seen a lot of in the last 3 days.
Sure. How are we wanting to, to do like we were doing yesterday? Or what?
Split it. Just do, yes.
Okay. So Brendan, give me the downtown live. That E2.
There was a moment when David McAtee's family was here.
Okay. Dissolve.
Made their way through the crowd, crossed the street and came over
What
to
is?
the food mart. And the moment that the crowd realized that his family members
we want to punch the show in the right.
No. We're not punching the show. We're just going to show this during their live hit. Stand by X sound. Right?
Yes, Stefan will toss the side after he's done with Katrina.
Everyone gave their respect to his family members at that moment. You could just feel
Stand by to hot punch
the raw
X in the small box.
as they walked across.
And what we've learned is that he was not only David McAtee was not only popular and well known down here in this area, but also in the East End, and he was known for serving a lot of Metro police officers as well.
And you could tell too, the police officers had respect in that moment as well for the entire ordeal. Police officers had their batons down. They were not.
What's Stefan tossing to?
After his shot,
for the
he will
past
toss
2
to
days
Kristen and
when they
Justin.
were in the riots and in kind of a riot-ready position. They had
And
their
they're
batons
downtown as well, right? Live view 1.
moments in this town where people came up with their hands out.
They're on live view.
Walked
They are on live
calmly
view
across
1.
the street, approached police officers and said, "I just want to talk to you." And police officers engaged with them and had meaningful conversations in that moment. And they even brought them aside and said, "I want to have a private conversation with you." So this, by all means, was a peaceful and important moment.
And we've heard about a lot of those exchanges throughout the day across the city here in Metro Louisville, and that is obviously very good to hear under the circumstances. Meanwhile, we've also heard that curfew will continue until June the 8th. Earlier today, we talked to Governor Bashir, and he told us
Stand by to hot punch X. You'll lose the E1 stuff. And roll X sound take. Bring live view 1 down, or live view 6 down. Add E1 with Bashir if you have it.
And again, the goal here is to try to keep everyone safe, and that's why we have to look very carefully.
Stand by to bring in live view 5 again.
To ensure that is, in fact, what is happening.
Take live view 5, Mike live view 5.
And again, this is one of several protests going on throughout the city here in Metro Louisville.
Put ME3A in the small box. Alright, put live view. Stand by to hot punch live view 1 small. Stand by to hot punch live view 1. Take. Add a live bug if you can, please.
Well, Stefan, the mood has definitely changed here at 6th and Jefferson. Today at noon, the protest actually started in Jefferson Square Park, and it's been peaceful all day, but the mood has definitely changed a little bit.
Stand by live view 6.
After this messages from this being
Dissolve live view 6. Put live view 1, ME2B, live view 1 on the left, live view 6 on the right. Stand by and dissolve.
Yeah, and some of the protesters said, take a knee, get down on a knee, and they wanted to see what was happening in the middle.
On ME3B, put camera 2 on the small.
Some more conflicting messages out here. It seems like, some people are allowing peaceful here, and others are not feeling that way. But you can see that.
Stand by live view 1.
To some of these protesters out here.
For a moment, the crowd kind of gathered around the police officers were on the that's why they stood up. It's a protesters here. This man's been here all day long. one interesting, they brought out mattresses into the decorated restaurants here, and it was really a symbol of Breonna Taylor being killed in her bed. So that's one.
Just so you know, Fox Edge, Trump, 615 Rose Garden, got George Floyd.
Solidarity. What was that?
I did. I saw a black gentleman who's been up here all day, and he approached a group of white protesters, and he looked at them and he said, "I am your brother. You are my brothers and my sisters. We are one." It was a really sweet moment between
Stand by live view 1 full.
You know, just talking about
Dissolve live view 1 full.
how we can make positive change out of uniting.
We heard some smoke that
Stand by live view 6. Stand by to number 1. Number 1.
and seeing these officers kind of gathered in the protesters. There are some other ones. I want to show you this here.
Stand by ME2B.
Go back to Jessica.
We will.
Kind of lining up one
Dissolve.
very tense. The protesters were lining up right there on these white lines right here, and standing at the officers and shouting at them.
We gotta remind them to put the mic to their mouth. They need to eat the mic.
She's gonna be done.
'Cause the fact we have two,
I know. Since about noon.
we're overdoing it.
Whenever we were here at noon when the
Stand by live view 1.
started, it was faith leaders that organized the initial protest, and there really weren't any officers here, not this many. So as the evening
Like, she's got the right
progressed,
mic to do this.
officers
Jessica
show up.
doesn't.
The police helicopter was up in the air. It's been up in the air circling too, monitoring the situation from above.
The group has really multiplied here. Just in the last hour, I know that we were at police station Broadway where a man was killed by
It's just a
police
waste.
just last night. I think a lot of those people, it seems like they maybe come down here, and this is kind of the epicenter. From what I'm seeing, there's so many people here.
Yeah, and earlier the organizers were saying, you know, this is going to end peacefully at 7 o'clock. Then once some other protesters joined here, they're like, you know what, our voice doesn't have a curfew. And so it sounds like some of them are planning to walk the streets tonight.
Stand by live view 1. Dissolve live view 1.
Just exchanged a hug. It was a really, really sweet moment. They're coming together in unity, and this is really the most peaceful protest that I've seen so far, Kristen.
Yeah, this
Dissolve.
is definitely the most active it has been, and I really haven't seen the protesters and police officers this close together. Have you, Jessica, throughout this?
Still live view.
That was peaceful. I mean, it really feels like a message from the police.
Have Kristen.
Jessica, mute up your mic.
Have Kristen use her mic for her.
Dissolve live view 6. Dissolve live view 6.
As you can hear, it's getting pretty loud out here with the choppers up above. But yes, police officers here in the middle talking to protesters. It's hard to hear.
Dissolve live.
They're
Dissolve
saying
back. Dissolve
that
back.
you can see, protesters
No. Dissolve. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we should back up just into the park here. I think they're trying to clear the streets. I think we should go back over into Jefferson Square. It looks like there's some confusion right now. What do you say, Jessica? People are looking up, kind of not knowing where to go.
Let's go find those mattresses. That's what I really. Bring up the anchors, Mike.
Bring up the anchors. Mike, the anchors.
Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and take it from there. It looked as if there was
Stand by
some
live
kind
view
of
6.
smoke coming from a parking garage.
Dissolve.
Our cameras are zooming into that right now.
Stand by
We don't know
ME3B.
necessarily what that may be.
Where are they going
Of
after
course,
this?
We've gotten used to seeing smoke in the area.
Weather
with
will be
tear gas
next.
And all of that. You would assume that wouldn't be coming from that building here. It looks like it's right next to the Justice Center there in downtown Louisville, not far from
Go ahead and
6th
flip
Street
prompter, please.
And Jefferson. Of course, you hope this isn't a fire or something that someone has set, but in what we've seen
Prompter,
in the
go ahead and
course of
flip.
the past 5 days, you wonder if it may be.
Right, but this
Dissolve.
protest here, this peaceful protest, is very different
Give me
from
the
what we have
E2.
seen in the past few
Or,
days.
yeah, give me just
Typically,
live.
Police and
There you go.
protesters are separated. Police standing
All right,
guard,
stand by.
protesters chanting their message.
Yeah, you've got it. We have
for
ME3
the first
here?
time for
Yeah.
me seeing
Okay.
this,
We
they
made
are
number 1 between them.
intermingling, talking,
We'll stay here, though.
listening, understanding each other, and really getting close and interacting with one another.
It seems much more like a conversation as opposed to chaos, and boy, we've seen a
You
lot
can
of that over
give us
the
a little
course
bit
of
of
the
live
past
view 6, Nats.
couple of days here in downtown Louisville. We are going to continue to follow
Stand
this.
by
Let's
generic
pause
weather
for
out
just
to
a moment
1.
and take a check of the forecast now.
And roll generic weather. Stand by camera 1. And Mike.
As we
Q.
look outside here, what you'll see is a lot of sunshine across the area.
First weather. Dissolve. Get in his ear and let him know that, please.
Increasing from the northwest.
Corner 3D. Corner 3D.
Rain towards the Indianapolis.
He may not even have his 3D
So
set
the
up.
question obvious on this one.
Okay.
Can that rain get into our area?
Stand by one.
Outside across our skyline right now, we notice that we do have
Dissolve.
sunshine. When we're trying to assess if that rain can make it here, we need to look at some of the numbers. So we're at 80, which tells us absolutely nothing about it.
All right, stand by live view 6.
So the atmosphere is holding 26% of the moisture it could hold before it allows rain.
We're gonna live tween. Which live shot for the tees?
What happens when you put a dry
Which
sponge
live
in
shot
snow?
for the
It
tees?
absorbs the moisture. So I think that's what's going to happen tonight is that dry sponge will win. You'll notice some of the high clouds making
The app bump. We will not go to the app bump.
But you just notice those showers have a very, very
30 left in
difficult
weather.
time.
Then we will
I
live
think that's
tween
the
with
story
E1.
through the evening will be an increase of high clouds as we turn partly cloudy. Remain
Anchors are
mild,
talking over
and I
live
think
view
today
6.
is going to be the coolest day we see in the next 7 years.
Anchors talking over live view 6.
At 9 p.m., I think we're looking around 74 degrees. It is comfortable. And at 11 p.m., 71 degrees under partly cloudy skies. I think we're going to go up to 92 degrees. I also think we'll bring some midweek storms. Obviously,
Stand by a live tween.
could any be strong or severe? My analysis coming up.
Live
All right,
tween.
Mark,
Thank you. And as we continue here on WDRB,
Stand by to fade to black.
another live look
Stand by
at
your brake
downtown
master.
Louisville, 6th and Jefferson. It has been the epicenter of the protests in our city. If you're just joining us,
We'll bring
big
it
pieces of information
when they get done
from
talking.
today.
Bring live view 6 nets up
Chief
for a
Conrad
sec.
has been relieved of his duties by the mayor
Reset
of Louisville,
3D.
Greg Fisher. That apparently over a situation where LMPD did not have body cameras on or activated during last night's shooting at 26th and Broadway. The mayor, Fallon, also putting that curfew into effect until June 8th. That's 1 week from today.
That's right, and this is a live look of the protests right now in downtown Louisville at 6th and Jefferson, where it's a very peaceful scene there. We will continue our coverage of these protests right after this break.
Break up. Stand by to fade to black. Fade to black, roll your brake. 10 away. Stand by live view 6. We'll finish that up here in a minute. Stand by live view 6 with. You should have locators for all this, Brendan.
We're going to do another live picture from live view as a bump in here, guys.
Up on live view 6, Mike the anchor. Stand by live view 4. At E1. Stand by to number 1.
This is at 6th and Jefferson in downtown Louisville. A very different scene here from all the other days of protests. We have really seen protesters and police really coming together. Just a few minutes ago, we saw some police officers speaking with these protesters and even offering hugs to each other and really listening and understanding, which is really what we need right now in our community, in our city, after so much hurt that everybody has been through in the past few days.
And we need this dialogue. We need these conversations to happen. You can see that this is very peaceful.
Where are we going
at this
after
point.
this? I know the next live shot, but what's after this?
Talking to
Then weather.
Police officers in the middle of the street. Of course, this has looked so different in the course of the past several days in downtown Louisville. We've seen picnic tables on fire. We've seen tear
3
gas.
to the wall,
We've
1's
seen
in the
people
corner
running.
for
We've
3D.
seen,
It'll be
police
Kentucky weather.
officers,
I don't know if you want to go ahead and cue it
You
up.
can tell they had that uncertain look in their eye. It's been a tumultuous few
What
days
is it?
in our city and many others for that matter across the country. I mean, you look at Indianapolis, you look at Chicago, you look at some of these other big cities that are around us, and they're dealing with this
It's Hughes
same
and
stuff,
Coleman
this same
sponsored weather. We have the wrong
conversations
sponsored
happening.
weather.
In the past few days, these protesters really have been adamant and vocal that they want to start a conversation. They want to have a conversation with police. They want to have a conversation with the mayor. And that appears to actually be happening for the first time.
Can I give you a little bit of live view 6 nats, please?
We see some state police coming in, Kentucky State Police right now, so it will be interesting to see if they disperse and they start to have a conversation with everyone here
live view 1 on the left, live view 6 on the right. I think you already do.
Because LMPD, they are spread out amongst the protesters, so it'll be interesting to see where these troopers
A little bit more live view 6 nats, please.
That the president is expected to address the nation. That was supposed to happen at about 6:15. Sometimes it happens a little bit late. Let's go right to Dalton Godby right now in downtown Louisville.
Mike live view 6. Mike live view 6.
Yeah, Chris, as you can
And
see,
dissolve.
KSP now moving in this area. A lot of protesters have
Stand by
moved
live
from the
view
street
1.
back onto the sidewalk, but you see
Dissolve.
state troopers now in a line here around Jefferson Square Park. I just heard one protester, she was very upset at the fact that they were already down here. She was kind of screaming and things, but obviously making her way back to Jefferson Square Park. Many of the protesters doing the same right now. Jacob, if you take a look over on the street
Dissolve.
there, you can see that many people are moving out of the way and back into the park. I'll show you here too. I mean, there is a lot of dialogue going on today that we haven't seen before. Chris and Val, like you both mentioned, this is a good thing to hear and see.
Send my live view 6 full.
And police, law enforcement,
Dissolve.
having these conversations, having their frustrations heard by the police, and the police trying to listen to some point. We've seen that in other cities across the country, and now seeing that here tonight, obviously. Everything has been peaceful up to this point. Now that KSP is here, everybody in Jefferson Square Park will see what happens at this point, but still everything peaceful right now, guys.
Mike the Anchors,
And
Mike the
it's a little
Anchors.
hard to see, but the KSP troopers are blocking our view of
Somebody,
the
ME3B.
protest inside. So we're going to go straight to our Kristen
Dissolve.
Shanahan. Maybe she has a better view. And
Stand by live view 1 and take live view 1. Stand by ME2B. Dissolve.
Yeah, we're still here at
Dissolve.
Jefferson Square Park, where the mood has definitely changed even more in
It's
the last 10 minutes.
chaotic
since we
out
last
there.
talked to you.
I mean,
if you take a live look here,
it's not gonna be pretty every time.
In their riot
I know,
here,
but I'm just saying,
protesters,
we don't know what it's
standing
like
in
out
front of
there.
them with their hands up, their signs up. I can tell you this protest started at noon today here at Jefferson Square. It was started by faith leaders, different organizations. It was very peaceful. It's been very peaceful since then. Things definitely started to change probably about an hour ago. More people joined in on this protest. I believe they walked here from Broadway and 26th Street where that shooting took place early this morning. And since more people have arrived, there's been some confliction. There were some protesters saying, we're going to be peaceful. We're not going to take to the streets tonight. Others said, no, we are going to take to the streets tonight. And then they did. They walked into the middle of the intersection of West Jefferson and 6th Street there.
Just a little bit.
And then
Stand by live view 6 full. Dissolve live view 6.
Police, LMPD intervened.
Bring up that left side just a little bit,
LMPD
please.
started speaking with some of the protesters. And then even some LMPD officers
Right
got
there,
down on their
where the
knees.
line is in between
Some
6th and
protesters
downtown.
also knelt down with them. Others refused to do so.
Stand by to dissolve
Since
back.
then, it's been very interesting. LMPD has been out here talking
Dissolve
to different
back.
protesters. I've kind of listened in on some of those
So, Brendan, you
conversations.
still have the one that
can hear
fits this
frustration
box?
from the protesters. And LMPD really listening. Now again, as you can see, state police, a number of
Can you
state
make that
police
say
officers,
26th and Broadway?
showed up with their riot gear. I guess to keep order here as the night
Stand
goes
by to hot
on.
punch
We're
live
seeing
view 4.
some trucks over here too. I don't know, Jeff, if you
And then
can
we'll
pan
add
over
each
to
to
the
it.
right.
last time, too.
It looks like the National Guard has showed up.
Tell his
as well.
Botox, tell him to
We
dial
need someone
in.
to dial in here by. There you go. You can see there.
Right, stand by to bring it
the National
in.
Guard has showed up too. So definitely a
Live view
very
4. Stand by to hot
He's
punch
still
live
not
view 4.
dialed in.
a
Take
lot
it.
within the past
Add
hour.
E2.
Hey, you are not dialed in. We need
Okay,
you to
thanks,
dial in.
Kristen. We were talking just a second ago about how we've seen these hugs and about how we've seen police having a conversation with the protesters out
Hot
there.
punch
And
live
now
view
all of a
6.
sudden kind of this shift, but this has been what has happened in the past several nights here in Louisville. There's just suddenly this shift that happens and things kind of change. Hopefully, it's not going to be violent tonight. We've had so much violence in our city, so much heartache and hurt. And hopefully we can turn a corner here, but it does look pretty ominous out there right now.
Right, and we started at 6 o'clock. There were police officers, just LMPD officers, very peaceful. Nothing unpeaceful about this, but it does seem like a mood has definitely changed. We want to go over to a protest
Stand by live view
now
5.
at 26th and Broadway where we
Stand by to
find
live
our
tween.
Stefan Johnson. Stefan.
And Mike's the live tween.
Good evening, guys. This protest has been
Alright,
going on
ME2B.
all day. We've heard a very common theme here on West
You can take
Broadway
forward.
today. People are still demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, but now also
Stand by.
looking for answers.
So live view 4 is all this?
Yes, live view 4.
Stand by to number 1 to live view 4.
Down here on West Broadway, I'll step out of the way. You can see across the street, to give you some perspective, if you're familiar with this area, West Broadway, 26th and Broadway, we're right next to the Louds Mall.
Stand by ME2B.
and, the West
Live
Broadway
view 6.
Kroger. The crowd
Or live view
is
5 on the
large.
left.
There are a
Live view
significant
4. You already do?
down
Okay,
here.
dissolve.
The people still driving through, honking their horns and shouting things like, we want justice, saying the name of Breonna Taylor. And,
Breaks 2 and 3 are dead. We're gonna
Breaks
restart
2
at
and
6.
3 are dead.
About David McAtee. Throughout the day, we have heard from a number of
Breaks
people.
2 and 3 are
I'm a local
dead.
guy, so I've had text messages and phone calls from people across the city just saying what a great guy David McAtee was.
No,
Of
not
course,
the news alert.
he is the man
No, not
who
the
was
news alert. The
shot
president
dead
isn't here yet. That's
early
just
this
there to be
morning
ready. I'm gonna move it down.
during
Set up the 4 box
confrontation when gunfire
on
started.
ME2A.
Police, Metro Police, the National Guard
You
were
can,
here
after
as
Stefan,
well.
you can
Put
go back
2
to
on the
the
top
two
right.
boxes from downtown and 26.
A number of other
Live
throughout
View
the
4.
day. They have promised,
Live View 6.
to get to the bottom of this and
Fox
to be very
Edge.
transparent
Let's just stay with it,
and
throw it.
give as much or release
Then we're
the
gonna come back to those
information
2 boxes
as
with
soon as
downtown
it
and
becomes
26 and
available.
Broadway after.
Stand by Live
Two
View
other
5.
things we've learned is that tonight's presence here on West Broadway will be very similar to what we saw last night.
Can you sneak in some
We
Live
can
View
tell
4
you that
nets?
Throughout the last hour or so, have not seen any police officers or National Guardsmen walking the street or talking to anyone. But they have been here. There's been a presence in their vehicles.
Stand by Live View 4. Never mind.
Right over here across the street, this is Dino's. This is very a well-known gas station. They sell food inside as well.
I just
You
sent
can see
Travis
people
and
are starting to
Zach
gather
downtown
along
Live View 3,
26th Street.
Chad,
It is
hope you're also gonna
getting a
go
little
downtown.
quiet for some reason. There's been music playing and a number again
That's
of
a good crew.
cars driving by and honking their horns
Live
in
View-
support.
I don't give
I
a
know
fuck about
earlier
Live View 4
today,
and 5.
Katrina Helmer was
Live
down
View
here and
4 is a
said
good shot
that
at protesters.
David
Live
McAtee's
View
mother
6 and Live
came
View
here
1
to
are
the
the
scene.
action.
And,
Because
I
that's
said
where
we've
the
seen a lot
escalation
of
has started
peaceful
every single
protests,
night.
we've seen a lot of chaos. And
ME
Katrina said that was a very
ME1B.
emotional scene as
Put Live View 6 on the
David
bottom right.
McAtee's mother walked across the street. Coming up a little later in the show, we
Stand by
will
Live View
talk
5
to
full.
the official who is very close
Dissolve.
to,
Where are we going next?
He's
Come
very
up to the 2
upset.
boxes
We'll share,
with
some of what
downtown.
Stand by
happened.
ME2A.
Back to you guys in the studio.
And
All right,
take
Stefan,
it.
appreciate it. We
Take
should
it.
also mention that we heard from Breonna Taylor's mother today. Let me talk more about that in just a second. Here's a live look at the White House Rose Garden. President
Stand by.
Trump expected to address the nation
Live View
in the course of
6
the next few
with
minutes.
downtown.
He's expected at 6:15.
Stand by to number
Sometimes,
1.
It gets pushed down
And
the road just a
number
little bit. So
1.
we'll be hearing from the president here in just a moment. Now back to what I was mentioning just a minute ago.
Stand by
Tamika Palmer
ME2B.
is the mother of Breonna
Oh,
Taylor.
oh,
She
stand by
was
Live
with
View
the governor a
4,
little
stand by Live View
bit
4,
earlier
dissolve.
today in Frankfurt. And she had some poignant words. She
Stand by
said, "We can't fight
ME3B.
violence with violence. I just demand
Put Live View
justice
4.
for Breonna. The family wants the 3 officers
Dissolve.
involved in the police raid to be fired by Mayor Fisher. And Mayor Fisher,
The 26th and Broadway, Brendan, E2.
26th and Broadway a little bit earlier today. It looked like he had some police escorts getting a
Add
look, I
E2.
guess, himself at what
works.
happened there overnight.
Right, and talking about Breonna Taylor's mother, she has been very vocal, as well as her sister, talking about wanting peace and wanting Breonna's name remembered, not for the.
And then you can't. If I go to a downtown shot, you can't. I have to lose the
remembering her
E2.
name and who she was, and we hear say her name, Breonna Taylor. They don't want her memory to be
Okay.
overshadowed by.
Do you have one
violent
saved that
protests.
says
They have
downtown
been
Louisville?
very adamant
Okay,
about
stand by to
peaceful
bring in Live View
protests, and
6.
They want justice. And that really is what we have been
And
seeing today in downtown Louisville.
bring it in
at,
and lose
6th
E2.
and Jefferson at Jefferson
Add your
Square Park, where we
change
have
it.
these LMPD officers
Bring it in.
hugging each other, talking, and having a real good conversation appearing in the video that we saw.
Yeah, Dalton Godby is actually there right now at 6th and Jefferson in downtown Louisville. Let's check in with him real quick.
Mike, Live View 6.
Yeah, Chris.
Stand by Live View 6 full.
You can see right
Dissolve
now.
Live View
some
6.
police have actually moved out of the Jefferson Square Park area completely.
Stand by ME2B with Live View 1 on the
For
left.
the most part, I'm not sure if that plays a factor in the fact that they
Live View 6 on the right. Lose
We
E2.
don't want to see Kristen on camera. You need to show us the action.
Say KSP left the area. A lot of the protesters were applauding them.
Dissolve.
It was very peaceful, and nobody was really saying anything negative. There was actually a gentleman in front of me who was thanking each of those officers as they were leaving, and they were tame for the most part. Everybody pretty positive on everything, and they are now moving out of the area.
Where are we going after this?
We're gonna go.
Protesters
Kristen's
still
next.
in full force here.
Live View 1 audio will be next.
At Jefferson Square Park. Not sure if we'll see KSP again for the rest of the night. But
Stand by Live View
see how
1.
that played out. Kristen Shanahan is also in the area. She's been following this as well. We're going to send it over to her to see
Dissolve.
what she's getting a look at. Kristen.
Cue again. Cue, Kristen.
Kristen, Q. Kristen, Q.
Cue, Kristen. 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 Cue, Kr
Yeah, we are still here live at Jefferson Square Park, where something very interesting has happened, and I'm sure Dalton mentioned that, but state police, a number of state police officers arrived and kind of lined the sidewalks here, and protesters were on the other side of them with their arms raised up, with their signs high up, and they were here probably for about not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then they started walking away. As you can see now, they're heading back. So I'm not sure exactly what changed there, but I know a lot of protesters here, the woman who's been leading the chants, has said that this is going to be a peaceful protest, and it has been peaceful since noon, since it started today, since faith leaders got together here at the park and started a peaceful protest here at noon, and ever since people have been here, the crowd has certainly grown over time. Hour by hour, we've seen more people gathered here, but it's been a very
Where are we going after this?
Afternoon. We saw protesters move from the park earlier to the middle of the intersection. That is when LMPD intervened. We saw a handful of officers go into the middle, and they were talking with protesters. And
it's my live view one.
It's
all live view one.
Others did not. So yes, a lot has changed here in the past 10 minutes or so, but we're going to keep
where are we going? What's next?
And we'll let you know what happens.
What's next? Mike the anchors. Mike the anchors. Dissolve the anchors.
Emotions here, you know, we saw at the
Stand by
very start of the
ME3B.
show, the peaceful interactions between
Put
LMPD and
live view
protesters,
one.
and then KSP came in.
Do you have a downtown Louisville?
The
downtown Louisville E2.
Yep.
Dissolve.
But then I don't know how long were they there, maybe 10 minutes or so, and the National Guard was starting to arrive too, but as our reporters in the field were just saying, they have left the scene in downtown Louisville, and it appears that everything is still peaceful. This has been going on since noon, so a long day of peaceful protests.
Yeah, and in two different parts of the city, too. You've got 26th and Broadway, where that shooting went down last night, where LMPD and the National Guard
bring in live
ended up
view one.
firing shots. And,
you already did.
It's not clear whether or not those shots actually killed David McAtee, the victim in that shooting, but we do know that he has passed away. Several people are very upset about that.
Where are we going next?
Just adds on top of everything else that we've been talking about over the course
Stand by 2, dissolve 2.
With Breonna Taylor.
Right, and it's hard in this latest shooting that we had overnight, hearing from officials that there is
Bring
no
in,
camera footage because the footage was, or the cameras were not activated. So that's really what people want to know, what happened, and they want answers. And at this point in the investigation, they don't have those answers. And that's the same thing that happened with Breonna Taylor. There is no body camera video, and people wanted those answers. They still want those answers, and they're trying to get Mayor
We're going to do a quick weather. So his
for this investigation to be complete by
first weather
Friday.
is
That's
next.
What, Council President
So camera
David
1 to the
James
weather
was
center.
talking about in a press conference
Camera 1 to the
at
weather
4,
center. We'll do Mark's
we need
weather
this
center.
Investigation complete by Friday.
Right, absolutely. People do want answers. They want them now.
First
this
weather.
is a long time to not know anything, really, not know the specifics of what has happened here.
Stand by Mark's weather.
Break right now.
Oh, stand by the okay. Stand by Mark's weather.
For a look at the forecast.
Roll Mark.
Mark Weinberg's WDRB weather forecast has the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society.
Mike Q. Stand by weather graphics.
We have a lot of sunshine. What we're starting to see are clouds.
Dissolve graphics. Set up corner 3D.
Approaching us. And the first thing that you notice when you look there is, showers. So the question is, can those showers make it into our area? Two things.
Stand by 1.
Those showers are in peak beating as we go to the north.
Dissolve 1.
We do start to see those high clouds increasing as we look from our tower cam towards the north. Next, question is, can they get here?
So what's next?
I would say go to live view 5 next.
But I think the one number that's most important when you
Which side?
The David James on Broadway.
Can you move that?
Yeah, I'm
Can we make a thing?
The reason this is important is we have a very dry atmosphere in place. So even if those showers are falling from
I need David James on Broadway on X. We've got it there. Thank you.
Yes, we'll still use the David James.
All right, stand by live view 5.
We're
gonna have to go straight to it. You have to reset your priorities.
So here's a stop at
We have to go
9.
straight to him, or do you want Suter to toss?
And you can see maybe a sprinkle.
No, they can't. Suter
2 on Suter. 2 on Suter.
They're going to be able to make it into Louisville. So as we go through the
set up
evening,
a
I think what we're looking at here will be just
double
partly
double.
cloudy skies. We see
2 in
those
live
mid
view
clouds
5.
increasing. Our temperature at 9 should be around 74. and 11 p.m. at around.
So we'll be to camera 2, then he'll toss to live view 5.
And dry evening.
Take.
All right, Mark, appreciate
Stand by
it. A
2
lot of people
bucks.
talking today about David McAtee, a guy that was affectionately known as the barbecue man in West Louisville. Stefan
Take.
Johnson and Katrina
Stand by
Helmer
live
are
view
live
5.
outside of 26th and Broadway. Dino's there, and they have more on the protests going on there, guys.
Take.
Live you 1, 2.
Yes, give us a second. All right, ME2B.
It's still relatively big here. We've heard a constant
Put live
theme
view
here.
5 on the
People
left.
demanding answers,
Live view 1 on the right.
to the death of
And then Brendan, give me that downtown.
That will be really obvious, he
And
said.
we've also heard people saying that they want police to take action right away. They want
I can't
the
do live view 1
investigation
now.
to be done sooner rather than later. You've been here, Katrina, throughout the day.
All right, ME2B, put live view 4 on the right.
When I say that this crowd
Just
was
keep
strong,
prompter
I
flips.
said it was even bigger.
It was much bigger earlier today, and a
Dissolve.
lot of the crowd was confused, as were we, why police were here dressed in
Levy one has a good picture.
All right, stand by.
Jeff's picture is hot, do not let
Actually, stand by to take it, and then we'll add E2. Yeah, stand by live view 1. Take live view 1, add
They
E2.
did not react to any of the protests. Their batons were down, their shields were down. They were relaxed, but they were suited up. But later, some of the leaders from the demonstrations,
You guys get a second? Can you do that
and they
$4?
had a conversation with police. And they
Stand by
wanted to know why
ME1B.
they're here. It's confusing to everyone. This is our home.
Stand by to number 1. Number 1
Understands why you're here.
with everything.
Trying to incite. That's what they were saying. And LMPD responded saying, we need to make sure that as soon
Go
as
ask Mary.
we need all of the evidence for it. And as soon as we have that, we will leave. And as soon as the group heard that, then the crowd changed a little bit. You could feel some of the tension.
Do you really use
At no
bathroom?
point during any of
You
this
have 20
today did
minutes.
anything become anything
Do
but.
you think we're stopping at 7?
As soon as police left at 2:30, they said they would. The entire crowd
it's all
erupted
peaceful.
in cheers, and police slowly backed away up 26, and the crowd was cheering and clapping. And they said to me afterwards, that's what they wanted. They wanted to police
I would say
to
after
they wanted to
them,
be able
you
to
go back to
have
the
their
anchors,
meetings
kind of
and
reset
that's how they
what's
felt.
going
And
on.
we
what
haven't
they see.
seen police walking up and down the
downtown
streets
again.
here
Yeah.
today, but they
If
have
you
been
need a
driving
break,
by.
We
Also,
need to toss
something
the
else I
break.
wanted to
Maybe
point
the
out,
anchors come back, talk
David
over,
McAtee
get
is
to
a
the break,
very
reset
popular guy.
everything.
I heard from
Okay, guys,
some friends,
after
I just got a
Stefan and
text
Katrina, we're
message
gonna
from
come back just to
Assistant
talk
Police
over
Chief
some
at
live
another
pictures.
department.
Toss the
He
break.
said that when he was
Which
with
live
Metro Police,
pictures?
David McAtee
Share that.
was
Which
a
live
friend of
pictures?
Metro Police, so he's
Downtown.
somebody
Downtown's the
that a
best
lot of
ones.
officers are
Like
grieving
1 or
as well.
6.
You can do that
We've heard
too,
from so many
side-by-side
people
boxing it.
demanding answers from the governor to the mayor, including Metro Council President David James.
Stand by X sound. Roll X sound,
We
take.
were told
We're in the
they would be
sound.
used to protect critical assets in our community.
How long
And then I
is this?
found out
It's 58 seconds.
There's somebody
58
behind
seconds.
Stefan, don't take him. Just take his mic.
We don't have.
You can do live view 4.
We need a David James super.
It's just an emotional.
Live view 5's fine now. He's zoomed in.
We don't have a Dave. We need a David James super. Do we have time? 30 seconds.
my friend is dead because of actions taken by the
I got
police
it.
department. So we need to know why.
Stand by to live tween
We
back
all need
out.
to know why.
Don't worry about
What
it.
happened?
Brendan, just give me the
Why it
26th and live.
Where was the breakdown?
We're too late.
How did the National Guard end up being in Westwood?
Do you have David James?
Why was there such a...
Don't worry about it. We're less than
massive
10.
Top left shot is just
the
feet.
corner 26th and Broadway?
Stand by ME2B. And live
Westwood
tween.
friend dead.
Mike Q.
Cute.
Very emotional from Metro Council President David James saying
Stand by to
that
hot
David
punch live
McAtee
view
was
6.
one of his friends. As I said a
Hot
few minutes
punch.
ago,
Look at your
a
pictures
number
live
of
here as we
people
toss the
have
break.
reached out to me and told me how special he was. He was known as the barbecue man. Again, as for the protests, people here today have been peaceful for the most part. There are a lot of people riding
So the
by,
downtown
honking their
pictures
horns in
live,
support.
toss
A
it,
number of people
toss it.
holding signs. Most of the protests
Stand by to hot
was on
punch live view
26th and
1.
Broadway. Now we see the crowd has moved over to 26th Street next to Dino's, which is a popular gas station here in West Louisville.
Take.
To give you some perspective, we're right across the street from the Lowe's Mall.
Stand by live view
Some
5
other
full.
things that we've seen throughout the day. Katrina Helmer said that when David McAtee's mother came here to the scene, it was very, very emotional. As you can imagine, something else that I've seen. I wanted to point out. People have been coming up
Still
to
at a
us
hot punch live, you
and
6 on the
saying,
right.
make sure you tell the truth, and that's what
Go
we
ahead.
do. That's our job, to report what's happening. I saw 2 young people in their 20s, perhaps, with garbage bags. I asked them, I said, you guys work for the city? And both of them said no, and I said, so what are you
go to
doing?
break
They
4
said,
next.
this is our neighborhood.
Break 4 is next.
We want to
Anchors
make
are doing
sure
it?
that we can all
Yes,
protest,
yeah.
but we also want to
We'll
make
go
sure
to
that
those
it's
2
clean.
blocks of the
And then
downtown
we saw
pictures.
someone
They're
else
going to
who
toss
was
it right
not
over
from
that.
this area, but they're from Louisville. They were passing out water and collecting some of the trash on the street. Or
What's Live View
trash
7?
people had in their
Preview
hands.
Live View
So
7?
Oh,
people are
Still gonna bring in-
Zach, they just got there.
That's downtown is right. As
They
well,
just
right?
got there.
All right.
They're dialed in, so we can use Live View
Take
7.
Live View. Oh, that's
But
fine.
so
Yep.
far here on West Broadway today,
We're
it
gonna
has
use
been
you guys'
peaceful, it's
live
been
picture.
calm. The governor did tell us, as for tonight, we will see a similar effort from Metro Police and the National Guard that we saw last night. We also heard
Stand by to
that
bring in
curfew
Live View 4 at the
that is
bottom.
in place, the 9 o'clock curfew
And-
will continue until June the 8th.
I think he had David
But
James
again,
there.
Today, a lot of people are here asking for answers,
Yep.
saying that they have.
All right, don't
a
worry
lot
about
of
the right
concerns,
box.
not only
Stand by
about,
right key.
Taylor, but about what's happening.
Stand by Live View
with
6.
African American men and women in other parts of the country, and then the latest today. Just very sad news, tragic.
Take-
David McAtee.
That's David James on Live View 4.
A man down here in West Louisville. If you've ever cruised West Louisville, and I've been up and down this street my entire life growing up here, it was nothing.
Stand by to
to
Hot
see,
Punch Live View
somebody
7.
barbecuing on
Hot
every
Punch
other
Live View
corner.
7.
He was
Trump.
one of the people
Stand by.
stuck it out and was
Trump is
well
now
known,
here. Trump
and
is
today
here.
he is gone, and a lot
Stand
of
by
people-
Fox Edge.
Why? Live in West Louisville, I'm Stefan Johnson. We'll send it back to you.
Stand by CNN. Stand by CNN. And live between
very emotional
CNN.
scene there at 26th and Broadway. We want to get right to
Make sure I control it, no
President
CNN
Trump who's
audio.
speaking
CNN
live.
audio.
swore
Up
an
on
oath to
CNN.
uphold the laws of our nation,
All right.
and that is
Stand
exactly
by.
what I will do.
Put
All
Trump on the
Americans
left.
were
Sorry,
rightly
no,
sickened
Yeah.
and revolted by the brutal death of George Floyd. My administration is fully committed
We definitely will need to
that
kill
for
break 4
George and
now.
his family,
Break 4 is dead.
justice will be served. He will not have died in vain. But we cannot
Do you have that
allow the
downtown
righteous
E2,
cries of
Brendan?
peaceful protesters
Well, it actually ends at 7.
to be drowned out by an angry mob.
Weather.
The biggest victims of the rioting are peace-loving citizens in our poorest communities. And as their president, I will fight to keep them safe. I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order.
Who? What IFB is Live View
All
7?
peaceful protesters. But in recent days, our
Hey, I'm gonna
nation
bring your
has
shot
been
up while
gripped
Trump is talking. So give me
by
something good. Keep giving me something good. Thank you.
Violent
Dissolve.
mobs, arsonists, looters, criminals, rioters, Antifa, and others.
Can you guys get?
A number of state and local
Can we
governments
do a
have
3
failed
box
to
with
take
Live View 6 as
necessary
well?
action to safeguard their
Or Live View
residents.
We're going in between.
Innocent people
like,
have been
whenever-
savagely beaten, like the young
'Cause
man
they all
in
look the same,
Dallas,
it's just a
Texas,
big
who
crowd.
was left dying on the street, or the woman in upstate New York
Mary said get out on
viciously
time.
attacked.
We're gonna get out on
by
time
dangerous
still.
thugs. Small
Thank you.
business
Well,
owners have seen
Stand by to bring
their
in Live
dreams
View 1.
destroyed.
Yeah, he told
New
me if
York's
it's really good
finest
stuff,
have
Take
been
Live
hit
View
with
1.
faced with
pass that in,
threats.
but if it's not, get off
Brave
on time.
nurses
Okay.
who have battled the
We can fill all of our
virus
breaks up to
are
7.
afraid to
If you
leave
get
their
to the 7
homes.
o'clock hour and we're still on
A
Trump,
police
I would
precinct
have
has
Stand by
been
to Hot Punch
overrun.
Live View
maybe
6.
God,
Here in
maybe
the
Hot
God
Punch Live View
one more
6.
time,
The
do a live
Lincoln
hit of what
Memorial
he's seeing, get
and
back
the
to your
World
anchors,
War
and you
II
can get off at like
Memorial
7:05
have
or
been
whatever the case may
vandalized.
be.
Perfect. That's
One of our most historic churches
Stand by to
was
Hot
set
Punch
ablaze.
Live View 1.
A federal officer in California, an African American enforcement hero, was
Take it.
shot
Can,
and
I can
killed.
drag some stuff down now.
These
but
are
you
not
need to
acts
change
of peaceful
Super's to Travis
protest.
recording.
These are acts of
Everybody that's
domestic
downtown is on
terror.
is dialed in.
The
Or-
destruction of innocent
2 and 3 are
life
dialed in.
Travis and Zach
and
are
the
on
spilling
2.
of
Which one
innocent
is-
blood is
who
an
is
offense
IFB
to
3?
humanity.
3 is
and a
Dalton,
crime
Kristen,
against
and Jeff, and
God.
Jacob. 1 and 6.
America needs
Okay.
creation, not destruction.
Stand by Live View 7.
Cooperation, not
2,
contempt.
5 U 7.
Security, not anarchy. Healing, not hatred.
Take.
Justice, not chaos. This is
Hey,
our
Travis, can you
mission,
hear me?
and we will succeed. 100%. We will succeed. Our country always wins.
Do you know
That is why I am taking
That's
immediate
Jefferson.
presidential action
Stand by.
to stop the
Dissolve
violence
full.
and restore
Dissolve,
security and safety
dissolve.
in America. I am mobilizing all available federal resources, civilian and military, to stop the rioting and looting, to end the destruction and arson, and to protect the
You can
rights
take a
of
break for a second.
law-abiding Americans, including your Second Amendment rights. Therefore, the following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country.
If you're done with them, if you
We will
can
end
clear
it
them and
now.
get them back, one,
Today, I have strongly recommended to every government to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers
so you're
that
gonna
we
have
dominate the
Live 1,
streets.
6, and 7 now.
Mayors
That's
and
all.
governors
6,
must
7.
establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has
They're
been
all
quelled.
downtown.
If a
Set
city
up
or
the
state
3 box
refuses to
or 4
take
box,
the actions that
put
are
Trump big.
necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I
Live
will
U1
deploy
top,
the United
Live
States
U6,
military and quickly
U7.
solve the problem for
Let
them.
me see what that looks like.
I am also taking swift and decisive action
Never mind.
to
We're not using
protect
that.
our
Still at
great
82
capital,
feet.
Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers
You ready,
to stop
Brendan?
the rioting, looting,
All 3 of
vandalism,
them are good now for
assaults,
if you want to do
and the
boxes.
wanton destruction of property. We are putting
Stand by to hot
everybody
punch,
on warning.
Live
Our
U6.
7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced. Those who threaten
Take.
innocent life and property will be arrested,
If you want, you're on
detained,
the
and
S&B as well
prosecuted
now.
to the fullest extent
Who's
of
that?
the law.
That's Scott Reynolds.
I
Do
want
not
the
take his audio.
organizers of this terror to be
Tell
on
him that he
notice
needs to
that you
turn
will
it.
face
tell Boomer
severe
to turn his
criminal
phone the right way.
penalties and lengthy
I,
sentences in jail.
Katie talked to him this morning
This
about
includes
his
Antifa and
attitude about the
others
whole
who are
thing.
leading instigators
Katrina in a
of
bad
this
spot.
I
violence.
know.
Whatever.
I was
One
watching.
Marcus
law
is calling it a
and
day, but if
order.
we need him tonight, let him know.
Now
Marcus
that
is
is
what?
what
Take
it
Live
is.
U7.
Out
One
there, if you need
law.
him on
We have
social and
one
tonight, give me a call.
beautiful law. And once
I
that
guess
is
break 6 is
restored and
next.
fully
The end.
restored,
We're doing the end break,
we
right?
will help
That's what's
you.
next.
No.
No.
we will help
Okay.
We
your
have to stay on till
business,
7. We're
and
gonna
we
go
will
We're gonna
help
go
your
on.
family. America is
What time are we
founded
getting off?
upon the rule
7
of
o'clock
law.
is our is
It is the
technically our off
foundation
time.
of our
But if
prosperity,
we
our
stay a few
freedom,
minutes late,
and
we
our
will.
very
56:30
way
is
of
our
life.
off time, I thought.
But we can
But
have a
where
break
there
that we
is
can
no
go.
law,
Okay,
there
so
is
we're
no
gonna go on
opportunity.
till 7.
Where there is no
Is
justice,
it
Master.
there is no
6:59, 50,
liberty.
like, what's
Stand by to
it?
hot
Where
punch.
there is no
6:56,
safety,
Stand by to hot punch Live
there
U6.
is no
Take it.
peace.
6:50, 6:30 is
We
that?
must
Yeah, that
never
3.5
give
minute
in
break
to
is okay.
anger
56:30 is
or
our off
hatred.
time.
If
But
malice
we're gonna
or
go on till
violence
7.
reigns,
We'll be off at 7
then
straight
none
up.
of us is free.
We can go
I
till
take
7
these actions today
with all of our
with
commercials
firm
and
resolve
coverage.
Okay,
and with a
7
true
straight
and
up.
passionate
7
love
straight
for
up.
our
Let's do
country.
it. 7 straight
Yeah,
up.
you'll
By
just go straight to
far,
Judge
our
Judy.
greatest days lie ahead.
Stand by to hot punch Live
Thank you very
U7.
much, and now I'm
You're
going
wall to wall
to pay
till
my
7
respects
straight
to
up.
a very,
Wall to
very
wall till
special
7 straight up.
place. Thank you very much.
All right, stand by to hot punch 2. Stand by to lose E1. Mike the Anchors, and bring in
White
2.
House Rose Garden in Washington,
Lose
D.C.
E1.
A lot to unpack there. In just the last couple minutes of
2
what
can
you had to
push
say, the
in.
president calling the looting and violence we've seen in Louisville and across the country domestic terror. He says he's going to be mobilizing
Stand by
federal
to hot punch
resources,
Live
civilian
U1.
and military to stop the violence
Keep pushing in
and
2.
stop the looting.
And he was talking
punch,
about a conversation that he had with governors today,
Live, you
encouraging
wanna go
them
ahead?
to deploy National Guard members. And he said if
They're going to toss
that's
to
not
Travis
the
next
case,
on Live
if you don't
U7.
Travis will be on Live
dominate the
U7. Have you
streets
heard
with
Live
these
U7
National Guard
Travis
members,
yet?
then he will
Take
take action
Live
and
U6.
deploy the military. And he talked about some steps that would be taken in D.C. as well. And he said he's fully committed to getting justice for George Floyd, who we know very well about his case in Minneapolis. And he said he will not have died in vain, but he will not let the angry mob overshadow the voices of the peaceful protesters.
Have you heard Live
which
U7,
we have seen
Angelo?
both here in Louisville.
Yeah, in fact, we're looking at some right now on the side
Stand
of
by
your
Live
screen. One of
U6.
those boxes from downtown Louisville. That's right at 6th
Full.
and Jefferson.
Dissolve.
We're one of our crews down there right now live.
Stand by Live U7. Mike Live U7.
Key Travis.
And we don't have any. Live U7. Just keep working for it. He don't have it. Mike the Anchors. Mike the Anchors. Mike the Anchors. Cue over.
Live U7 audio right
We
there.
have audio in here from Live U7. I see the
As you can
things.
see, there are several people gathered there. Everything seems very peaceful at the moment. We should mention that within the course of the past hour, we've seen several people embracing with police officers.
Live View 6 will be
down there.
next.
Let's go back to Dalton Godby now, live in downtown.
We got Live View 6 audio. Bring up Live View 6.
Yeah, Chris, we're still down.
Are you still working on Live View 7?
Several protesters on a knee just a couple of moments ago as one of the.
We got Live View 7 now.
Speaking and. Kristen, we've heard them talk a lot about.
Then my ME2B.
They had considered some of these things victories. They had gotten.
Put Live View 7 on the left.
Steve Conrad out
This is going to be Kristen and Dalton, so you can use both of their speaking and reporting supers.
The mayor turns on as well. You heard that.
We have not. These two anchor things are killing. Two reporter things.
Have Dalton hold his mic toward Kristen's mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a piece of paper that had been passed around to the protesters here. They're actually, I do want to point out, everybody is fairly quiet for the time being compared to what has gone on the past several days. Everybody's just kind of standing around right now and hanging out here at 6th and Jefferson. There's a paper that
it's in my Live View 1. It's my number 1.
It reads our civil demands, and
number
it
1.
has a list of demands on here that the protesters are asking for. One is abolishing no-knock warrants as they violate the 4th Amendment of the Constitution. The second one, and it's got several points on
Dalton
this,
is
a complete LMPD
Can you hear me?
reform.
Travis, can you hear me?
But not limited to a more detailed and specific language
we'll
regarding
toss to
body
you in
cams
just a second,
on
okay? We were
LMPD
trying to get your
officers.
audio.
Dissolve.
Says updated and more frequent training efforts.
That's fine.
C, civilian elected LMPD
Yeah, I'm gonna
accountability
I'll cue
committee.
you, okay?
D, stricter repercussions for LMPD and case affiliates. And a transparent civil communication with the community during the wait for peaceful protest.
Yeah, the big old F on that sign.
List of demands there for these protesters, but
dissolve.
It doesn't matter. Just tell us what you see, okay?
Calm down. I know, but you have to remain calm. They're in a tough situation.
That is one thing that they really have been asking for,
You be the calm one.
but kind of a list of new demands that we're seeing.
Let them yell at
I
you.
do want
That's
to say
fine.
that this protest
I mean, they
has
can't
gotten a
hear,
little tense at
that's why they're
times,
yelling.
but it has been peaceful. And protesters out here say they want to remain peaceful. They don't want what has happened over the past
we're gonna have
other nights. So
Don't you
it
go
seems
toss
that
to Travis whenever you're
they're
finished.
following that lead. And I know there are some.
Dissolve.
We just got another paper here too, if I can open it up there. Are a lot of leaders out here that are asking others not to break curfew. They say they want to end this peacefully
Travis,
around
right now,
7 o'clock
Kristen is talking
tonight.
about
And then while
It's in
everyone
my Live View
else
7
are
full.
telling them to stay at home tonight. But there is a list
in my Live View
going
6
around,
full.
Break curfew.
and break
telling
curfew,
people not
okay?
to obey
Dissolve.
curfew and listing reasons why. And you do have leaders that have been out
just
all day since June telling people that they want peace. They don't
Travis
want
have
people
programming.
to take to the
Travis
streets.
wants programming. Which
Live View
IFB is
7.
that?
Live View 7.
IFB 2.
IFB 2 wants programming. Travis, Live View 7.
Are saying no. They want people
Stand by
to
Live
stay
View
out here and
6.
continue
Or is that what we're on? Stand by Live View 1. Stand by number 1. Number 1.
A little bit of a conflict between different groups of protesters. It seems there are
Stand by Live View
different
7.
people who are kind of traveling together and marching together. Some of those do want to be in the streets,
We'll
want to
just
shut
cue
down the
whenever
streets.
it's done,
Others
just
want to
tell us
stay on
what
the
you see.
sidewalk.
Live View 7 will do a
Others
hit
want
here
to
shortly.
obey the curfew law. Others want to break that and continue protesting. It'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Stand by Live View
here
6.
and
4 minutes for the show.
Dissolve Live View, or
as
number
far as
1. That's fine.
everybody
That's
here
fine.
downtown together, but
4 minutes left in the
just a couple of
show.
moments
Stand by
ago,
Live View
they
7.
are celebrating some small victories, they say, but they're not stopping here. They say they are glad that they have pushed LMPD chief, now former LMPD chief Steve Conrad, out of his position. They want the mayor, they want to see him be forced out of the mayor's position as well. A lot of things. They said they drove the police out of here 2 times today. We saw KSB and LMPD riot control leave the area after this was a very peaceful protest.
Stand by Live View 1.
At 6th and Jefferson.
Number 1.
So they are celebrating some small victories, is what they're calling them.
Stand by Live
This
View
is something
7.
that's not only happening in this area. This is going around all over the city of Louisville. WDRB's Travis Ragsdale is taking a look at some of that in another location. We'll send it over to Travis now.
And live tweet to it. Live tweet.
Yeah, no, we're in the Hall of Justice here. On the other side, those are the old
That
city
recording
hall.
needs to be a
We're gonna have a
pad.
number of police officers mingling in this crowd, this vigil
for David McAtee, who
These reportings need to be a tab.
Earlier today, very early this morning, we've seen a number of officers walking here. We've seen members of the LMPD command staff down here as well. Largely just a gathering at this point. There is no speeches going on.
2.5 left in the show. Still my ME2B. Live U7 on the you do. Okay.
A lot of signs, probably
we might go to it, I don't know.
1,500 or so people out here right now, but largely peaceful at this point. Overwhelmingly peaceful. No violence at all here.
I'd give Travis a rap at
There's no confrontation with police. Like I said, police are just mingled in with the crowd.
After Travis is done, it's just going to be Anchors talking over
with those officers.
After Travis is
Remains
done,
to be
we
seen
just
what
have to
happens
talk over
tonight.
like
Now earlier,
pictures till 7
we saw a few people giving speeches
Can we-
in the middle
Can we-
of
Can we tell them all to give us live shots?
Hard to make out.
Regular programming.
Regular programming.
Speakers were saying, but over the message overwhelmingly was.
Can we tell all the photogs to give us shots then?
Taylor and
Who's on live view one?
Jeff.
Tell Jeff to give us a live shot.
For 2 more minutes. For 2 more minutes.
Silence is not consent. I see one of those.
Jeff doesn't have IFB.
Tell Godby they're hot for 2 minutes.
Hasn't really grown that much
For 2 minutes.
We've been out here in the past 20 minutes or so. We kind of followed another.
90 left in the show. 90 left in the show.
Like I said, a very peaceful gathering at this point of people
Here's
who
the
want
live picture
answers.
on live U1
And
and
2
6
police shootings
Semi 2 dissolve.
here in Louisville, Kentucky, guys.
Dissolve Mike the
And
Anchors.
this is quite a large crowd that we're looking at downtown, and a good mix of people as well. This is actually a combination of a protest that started at noon today, and then a vigil for David McAtee that started at 6 p.m. So a large group of peaceful
Stand by live view
protesters in downtown
7
Louisville right
full.
now, and it looks like a good
Dissolve 1 minute
conversation
left in the show.
between
Stand by
LMPD
4
officers,
box.
now that KSP and the National Guard have left the scene.
Tensions have rose at certain points, especially when
Stand
that
by live
police
U6,
presence
well,
has
number
stepped
1.
up when they had that
Number
riot
1.
gear on and they kind of formed that
Stand by
ominous
live
line.
U1.
If you are just joining us, I want to be sure to let you know everything that has happened in the course of the past 3 hours. Chief Conrad
Stand by to
has
hit
been
your close
fired by
music.
Mayor Greg Fisher. Mayor Fisher saying LMPD body
Number 1.
cameras were not activated during
Stand
last
by
night's
4
shooting
box.
at 26th and Broadway.
Hit your
We
close
should
music.
also
Hit your
mention
close music.
that Louisville's mayor has
Show 'em on
extended
cam,
Louisville's
flag to
curfew
2.
until June 8th.
And dissolve.
And that is a week from today, so keep that in mind as you're out.
Stand
you could
by.
be cited for being out past curfew.
20
And
seconds.
this
Stand by to fade to
event
black.
here ends at 7 o'clock. That's about
15.
2 hours from the curfew.
Stand by to add
we'll see
your
what happens
copyright.
After that, and we'll definitely
Add the
bring you
copyright.
live
10,
coverage,
9,
as the night
8,
continues. Thank you for joining
7,
us, everyone, and
6,
stay safe and
5,
enjoy regular
4,
programming.
3, 2, 1. Fade to black. Roll your break.
You guys rock.
Good job, everybody.